Next, I'm going to configure a build for a Xamarin.Android app. First, I select my app from the list of applications in the App Center homepage. Here I have one of my book apps, Chapter 2. It's a Xamarin.Android app. I'll click on it, and this brings up the app. Here's my app. I want to drill down into Build, and then pick the branch that you'd like to configure. And if you've never configured this branch before, you're going to get a screen like this. If you have, you'll see your configuration or your list of builds. And here you're going to want to click on the Configure Build button. This brings up the build configuration for this Xamarin.Android app. First thing it does is App Center drills down into your solution and finds the projects that it can, and it lists them here. And so there are a few for this particular solution, and so I'm going to select this first one, which is Control Examples Android, and then I'm going to select the release configuration. Here you can choose debug or release, and here you get to pick your mono version since it's an Android app. Now, build scripts is something that you'll be wanting to use if you're doing something fancy like setting up test scripts after your build runs automatically, or if you need to configure the environment in which the build will happen. This is the place where you do that. Now I'm going to click on briefly and to drill down into the documentation to give you an idea of the places in which you can put these scripts. You can put these scripts in post-clone, pre-build, or post-build. And so those are the three locations in which you can set up build scripts. After we decide on the scripting or not, we set up build frequency. This is the choice that you can make as to whether or not to manually build this. Say you only want to kick off your own builds, or perhaps you'd like this thing to kick off every single time a developer does a push. Right now we have those two options. In the future we're looking for a few more, but right now we have two basic options right there. And then we want to be able to automatically increment the version code. This is desirable, and there's a couple different ways we can do that. You can do that using a build ID or using a timestamp, and this is just simply the ID that defines the build. So here are environment variables, and these are variables that you can set up yourself. These are name value pairs that you might use within your build scripts, and so you hit the plus button and you can add these. Now we're not going to do this now, but you can sign your builds, and you need to do that if you're going to release them to devices. And so when you click this to on, then you get into the whole upload the key store file situation that we're going to handle in the next module. Testing on the real device, however, is something that allows you to test easily and in a straightforward way. This is just a smoke test that happens within App Center Test to verify whether or not your build, your successful build, runs on a physical device. And that's all it does. It doesn't run it through any battery of tests except the first page. Does it boot up or not? We'll get into distribute builds later, and advanced is merely a build status badge. This is an HTTPS link that you can include within your apps or within some type of dashboard to give you some indication of a pass-fail on your build. And that's it for build app, and when you have done this configuration, you can go ahead and click save, or you can click save and build, and it will proceed to then build your first application. And so you can see here that it's queued up to be built, and just in a few moments you'll be able to see the build. And there, now my build is completed, and that's how you configure a build for a Xamarin.Android app.